Buddy, good morning. This is Nick Lang with the National Concrete Masonry Association here again today with a Tech Tip Tuesday. What I'd like to cover today is actually something I was given a seminar for some students in college, civil engineering students last night, and they were asking some questions and thought I'd cover one that they tackled, which is one we get a lot, which is what is the minimum compressive strength of concrete masonry? Now, for our CMU, the minimum strength for the units is covered under ASTM C90, and that minimum strength is 2,000 PSI. But when we start talking about what's the overall minimum compressive strength for a masonry assembly, we have to talk a little bit differently. That minimum compressive strength of masonry as defined by the code is a value that's called the specified compressive strength of masonry, or F prime sub M. And if you go into our building code requirements for masonry structures and our specification for masonry structures, TMS, the Masonry Society 402-602, they give you several different ways to determine compliance with the value of F prime M that the designer chose. Now, the most common one that's used is called the unit strength method, and that relates the strength of units to the strength of the masonry assembly. We talk about this in a very short form in our FAQ 05-14. And this is the unit strength table. It's basically a table. You pick your strength of your unit over here on the left, and depending on the type of mortar, it gives you that F prime M value. Now, coincidentally, that 2,000 PSI unit strength also corresponds to a 2,000 PSI F prime M or specified compressive strength of masonry. So what this really means for you is that if you are designing with masonry and you're using your off-the-shelf minimum C90 units, the designers can be using an F prime M of 2,000 PSI, which is an increase from previous versions of the building code where that baseline was at 1,500. So that's kind of pre-designed. So hopefully this helps to explain things. Our Tech Note 5-14 goes over it in brief. Our Tech Note 18-1 covers it in a lot more detail. So hopefully that helps you out. If you have a question for a future Tech Tip Tuesday, we'd be happy to answer it. Just leave it in the comments, and we'll see you next week. Thanks a lot.